Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to part 5 season 2 of What If Midoriya Was an AFO Fan. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. Midoriya listened to All for One's plan intently and paused for a moment contemplating everything he'd need to do to accomplish the task assigned to him and the rest of the league. Then it hit him, an alternate plan that'd prove far more fruitful to his master. As he put on a fresh helmet, Midoriya turned to the screen marked audio only and spoke. There was no hesitation or even a pause from All for One. He replied immediately to Midoriya's query with a warm and welcoming tone. You need not ask me such things, young Izuku. We are practically family after all at this point, as is Tamura. So what is your plan? Tactic kill. All for One gave a rare fatherly aura when he spoke to Midoriya, acting like a better father figure than Hisashi had ever done. Midoriya pondered if it'd be too much to request All for One unofficially adopt him like he had Shigaraki, seeing as Midoriya had no family to go to anymore, besides the league anyway. Well, Master, seeing as we're at Island anyway, why don't we push ourselves and capture the entire island? According to these blueprints here, the island has a built-in emergency plate separation system, designed to eject any areas from the island that pose a significant threat and need to be isolated immediately. First, however, we need to seize control of the central tower, which funnily enough is where the expo is taking place. Once inside, we will cause a little confusion and chaos by detaching the entirety of Island from each other. Then we'll need to reprogram the entire tower's security systems and turn them against the poor hapless heroes. Once all the heroes and scientists are dealt with, we will then activate the central tower's emergency tsunami guard walls, turning it into the perfect mobile fortress for the league. All for One paused in a deafening silence after Midoriya had finished before breaking out into a thunderous applause and dark twisted laughter. Izuku, my boy, you impress me with your genius and willingness to push yourself further with each passing day. Yes, a mobile fortress with security already on par with Tartarus prison. Those fools have no idea the potential they're standing on and using to host their little science fairs. I concur with your plan, Izuku. Make it happen at all costs. This will truly be the most delicious victory for us yet. All for One cackled behind his monitor with a devious grin as he turned in his chair to look over the sea of enhanced Namu Midoriya and Yujiko had been collaborating on. This was the army that would aid the League in their conquest of Island. Elsewhere, at the UA campus main hall, Nezu had gathered all the students and faculty of UA to give a speech and a mass funeral service to honor the heroes and students that had perished in the Edshot Agency and Hasu attacks inflicted by the League. Many heroes whose lives had been affected by those who were lost to the massacre at the hand of the League were also in attendance. The room was silent as a massive board displayed hundreds of faces of heroes and students lost that terrible night. The losses weren't limited to just first years but second and third too. Izuku Midoriya equals deceased. Tenya Ida equals missing presumed deceased. Nito Monoma equals deceased. Minoru Mina equals deceased. Kyoka Gyro equals deceased. Tagaru Kamakiri equals deceased. Hitoshi Shinso equals deceased. Toru Hagakure equals deceased. Kamui Woods equals missing presumed deceased. Death Arms equals missing presumed deceased. Native equals deceased. Enigma equals missing presumed deceased. Edshot equals deceased. This list of death and missing in action went on and on. Tatsuki Bakugo cursed himself out for not being there to help. Bakugo cursed himself more for what he'd done to Izuku. Sure, the guy was a nerd, a show-off, annoying as hell and a bit eccentric, but he didn't deserve to die, especially after he'd just let go of his childhood disdain for heroes. What hit him hardest was that not only in Midoriya's case but every single person mentioned on the board hadn't left behind a body to mourn. In some cases there was just ash or dust left behind, but what was worse were the ones with nothing left behind at all. Students, heroes, and family members. We have all suffered a terrible loss, and I shall not stand by and watch us be targeted as we have been by this league of villains. In the words of a great student, who unfortunately I must count among the dead today, we will prevail. This is what we must do in the face of these villains, prevail. Normally we do not encourage this or even speak of it, but after what has happened this lesson must be taught. The anger and sorrow you all feel, do not let it guide your actions. Instead hone it, sharpen it into a spear that will pierce through the bad time and let in the good, giving you the strength to prevail over these villains. Just as young Izuku Midoriya had told the world, we will. Furthermore, the students that have since been lost to this massacre have all been officially granted the titles of pro-heroes. Nezu's speech for the funeral was soft and somber. The usually cheerful principle was broken. The League of Villains had crossed a line in Nezu's eyes. Something had to be done. Furthermore, all students in classes 1A and 1B will be attending an advanced training course at a private location. Please pack according to what your homeroom teachers outline. Nezu stepped away from the microphone and headed to his office, wiping some sweat from his brow using a small handkerchief. Hopefully this would be enough. Upon returning to his office, Nezu found he had misplaced his favorite teacup. Odd, he'd never done this before. Maybe old age was finally catching up with him. Still, this was peculiar, and was that window always open? In preparation for their mission, Midoriya gathered the League in the training chamber and went about putting them all through a living hell to push their limits and grant them strength like never before. Not to mention, as a reward for the Edshot and Hasu massacres, they'd each been gifted a single new quirk by the Great All for One. Using the plan Wolfram had in place, the League infiltrated the island using access codes and security blind spots provided by a mole inside the island. As the League got into position at the top floor of the central tower, Midoriya went over a list of personnel who were loyalists to All for One's cause and were not to be killed unless they showed any signs of betrayal. Using Kurogiri's warp gates to get to the security room was as easy as a stroll through the park. Midoriya cracked his knuckles before beginning to type in access code after access code until Island's systems were completely at his fingertips. Hisashi, you will obey orders from Golden Fox and feedback as if they were from myself during this mission. Furthermore, you will respond to your villain name of Ragnarok. Consider this name a gift from myself, so do not use your normal name during missions. Am I making myself clear? Hisashi nodded at his former son, the man he was, now lost within the deep recesses of his mind. Midoriya began dispatching orders to everyone in order to best execute his plan to seize the island. Excellent. Now feedback, you will lead Phoenix Squadron and secure the labs on the floors below us. Golden Fox, you will lead everyone else in introducing ourselves to our soon-to-be hostages and entrapped heroes. We wouldn't want to be bad guests now, would we? Mustard, you'll be staying behind with me for protection. Oh, and Dabai, Endeavor is all yours. With the tasks assigned, everyone moved according to plan. The labs were secured in a matter of hours, all except for David Shield's personal lab. Mid-roll, the ND channel. Before we get back to the video, I'd like to talk about our new channel, Celestia, our channel dedicated to all things Dungeon and Dragons. Currently, we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So if you're a fan of D&D or have an interest in learning about it, check it out. Additionally, if there is something you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. So, why exactly have you kept me behind? Tactic kill. No disrespect, boss. I know you're the man with the plan, but out of everyone, why me? Wouldn't I be better suited to take out the heroes at the conference? Mustard sat in a chair kicking his legs as he held his silenced SMG upward, a little nervous to be left alone with Midoriya. For two reasons, Mustard. 1. Fill this room up with your knockout gas, and 2. To keep me company and give me someone to chat to. Boredom can be such a pain, you know. Mustard gave a confused pause before shrugging and filling the room with his gases, and after training with his quirk as Midoriya had outlined, Mustard was able to divert the flow of toxic knockout gases away from Midoriya to keep Midoriya's view of the security monitors unobstructed. Elsewhere in a highly secure laboratory, David Shield worked without rest as he had much to do. Gathered in the laboratory with him were 3 other people, All Might, Inko, and Melissa Shield. Inko was undergoing highly experimental medical procedures which she'd been subject to ever since she had arrived on the island. In the conference hall, another memorial service was being held to both mourn and celebrate all who were lost in the Great Massacre, until Midoriya pressed enter on the keyboard. Every hero and civilian was wrapped up tightly in some form of advanced capture system. The halls of the tower were now being patrolled by Namu and reprogrammed drones alike. Quickly bursting into the room was Shigaraki, donning his Golden Fox villain alias, followed closely behind by Hisashi's hulking form, Dabai, Toga, Twice, Compress, Magni, and Spinner. The screen showing the memorial service cut to a blank screen with a symbol of a skull with All Might's famous hairstyle, its jaw agape, speaking the words "I am dead" in crimson red in full capitals, whilst to its left and right were the words "League of Villains" in red. Okay, everyone, I shouldn't have to introduce ourselves and crap since it's on the goddamn screen. Wait, where the hell is All Might? Are you fucking kidding me? He isn't where he's supposed to be again. Ugh, tactic kill. Find that blonde annoyance so we can dust him. Shigaraki grumbled into an earpiece, as Midoriya was already searching every camera feed he had access to. The only places he had blind spots was outside the tower and David's lab. Speaking into his helmet's audio gear, Midoriya spoke to everyone in the League over their earpieces. Okay, everyone, I want you to pay attention to my orders. Fail to listen and All Might could end up taking you out for good. Compress, take every hero there and collect them into your marbles. Kurogiri, you retrieve Compress on his trips back and forth from the conference room to Master so he can take the hero's quirks. Spinner, Toga, Magni, I'm diverting 3 Namu to the conference room. You and the Namu will be acting as defense and keeping the hostages who aren't heroes in check. Everyone else, including Phoenix Squad, get into David Shield's lab and capture it. If Shield and his daughter are in there, we have to key hostages. If All Might and Endeavor are in there, be ready for the fight of your lives. Receiving confirmation from everyone and one contradiction from Twice, the League moved into position, only stopping after Gyro lifted her hand up when she placed an earphone jack into the massive vault door. Tactic kill. I got good news and bad news. David and his daughter are in the lab as is All Might. The bad news is I can hear. G-force. Gyro spoke up over her earpiece. Her own voice masked by her mouthpiece that granted her audio attacks on par with present mics. She's what? Shit. Okay, calm. Right, this is a massively unexpected turn of events, but we can work with it. She's practically harmless. No. She is a harmless former pro. She's nothing without her quirk's full power. Your orders still stand. If G-force gets in the way, kill her. She's not even useful enough to become a Namu. Midoriya leaned back in his chair watching the monitors, only for one to cut to static, then another and another. This continued until he was down 5 more cameras. Midoriya wasted no time in dispatching the security drones to the locations first and got a scope of what was going on through their cameras. What the hell? All of 1A and B were trying to launch a rescue mission from the looks of it, headed by, god damn it, Aizawa, Vlad King and Endeavor. Time to make an impression and a debut. Midoriya activated every blast door in the hallway they were running down, leaving them trapped with the drones. Now for a splash of showmanship. The various TV screens blinked to life across the hallway, showing the same symbol and words that were presented before in the conference hall. Activating their audio, Midoriya spoke through all the TVs towards the heroes. My god, this was awesome. This must be how it feels to be his idol. Scrambling his voice more than usual to leave him completely unrecognizable, he began to speak. Greetings, heroes. Allow me to welcome you to your incoming demises. But where are my manners? I am Tactic Kill, head tactician of the League and second in command to the Golden Fox. Oh, and if that isn't enough to get you angry, I planned the Great Hasu and Edshot Massacre. Ha. Angering the heroes and heroes in training. They began pushing back the island security drones, whilst Bakugo screamed as he blew up every screen to shut the villain up. Shut up. You killed Izuku, Nito and Tagaru. When I find you, I am going to blow you to pieces. Bakugo roared his threats at the last remaining television monitor before being laughed at by Midoriya's scrambled voice. Ha. Oh, I quiver with fear. Oh, and here is some incentive for you all to really go plus ultra. By my estimate, the rest of the League and several Namu will have broken into David Shield's lab in under an hour. They will proceed to kill both All Might and G-Force, then take David Shield and Melissa Shield hostage. Boot, in around half an hour, every hero in the conference room will be dead, and every civilian there shall soon follow, with no chance of survival if you don't save them. Oh my, which to choose? Either way, you'll need your full strength for whichever one you choose. No picking both. With that final aggravating barb, Aizawa jumped and kicked the screen before Bakugo could even blow it up. Time ticked by as Mr. Compress had almost finished gathering the last hero. The sounds of the blast doors being damaged and destroyed got closer and closer. Quickly the room flooded with security drones that immediately deactivated and reactivated into self-destruct mode, all of them armed to detonate in 1 hour. Midoriya's voice sounded over Toga, Spinner and Compress earpieces. Time's up, you three. Leave the Namu behind. They are fit only to be sacrificial pawns here, and distract the heroes while the bomb timer counts down. Kurogiri, warp them to the others. We need everyone to take down All Might, including me and Mustard. We will join you momentarily. Diverting 5 Namu into the security room. Now Mustard's cloud of gas was gone. Midoriya and Mustard made their way upstairs towards David Shield's lab. Upon arrival, the door was almost destroyed, almost allowing the League to get in. Activating their new quirks bestowed by All for One, Toga's knives began floating around her thanks to Wolfram's quirk that allowed him control over metal. Spinner grew in size, managing to tower over Hisashi. Twice cracked his knuckles, now having enhanced strength and endurance courtesy of Death Arms. Magni allowed some electrical energy to crackle in her palm. Compress created multiple air walls protecting him from what would likely burst from that door. Benefit of one of Nine's quirks. As for Mustard, he aimed down the sight of his gun as it started glowing a warm orange hue. Meanwhile, the members of Phoenix Squadron did the same with their own new quirks. Monoma aiming his fingertips at the door. Kamakir's hair sharpened into extra blades as he made use of Slice's quirk. Minta slowly camouflaged with his surroundings, rendering him invisible to the unattentive. Hagakure engaged her own true invisibility as her eyes began glowing a bright yellow. Gyro began testing her new quirk to be certain she had it ready for this, which caused her to blink from place to place. Ida's hands both sharpened into long pointed blades, whilst Shinso began shaping his hand into various shapes using the stolen quirk of Kamui Woods. The door came crashing down and 3 voices rang out as attacks rained against Compress various air walls, which were being strengthened by an extra clone of himself from Twice. Texas, smash. The first voice was that of All Might, unsurprisingly to the villains, but it was the next to voices that caught them off guard. Island smash. The shout of a young girl rang out. No, not just any girl, Melissa Shield. But she was meant to be quirkless. The data said she'd be quirkless. Telekinetic fury. But the final shout belonged to her. An enraged mother who'd likely heard Izuku's little speech earlier about orchestrating the Hasu and Edshot massacre. Hell hath no fury like an enraged Inko Midoriya. Outro. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Are We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.